So QPR stands for question, persuade, and refer. And we like to equate it to CPR. We're not the experts. We're just someone who can be there and give them the assistance they need until a professional can come. Ask some questions, just like if someone were on the ground, can you breathe? And then persuade, like, hey, can we get you some help? And then refer them to someone who can help them. QPR, the organization, does have courses to become a trainer. And in Utah, that's put on by Hope for Utah. And Hope for Utah, does a myriad of things besides QPR. They have implemented Hope Squads in the schools. They support those. And so they're a great group that has a lot of resources. So a gatekeeper basically is anyone who's gone through these trainings. We do want to talk about suicide, but in the right situations. We've set them up in smaller groups because that gives a chance for people to ask questions, or if they're uncomfortable to, not just be swallowed up in a big group. And when it comes to just talking about it, it's really good to have these conversations where you can make sure people are okay and safe talking through them. In our case, we've been proactive reaching out. So like I said, we'll go and have teachers from a specific school come in and we'll talk to teachers, or churches where we might do, a little session with the adults. And we have had a couple that have kids, and that's been really great, I think, especially teenagers, because they're the ones right in it. They're the ones, where you see a lot of suicides. Another high risk age group is actually middle-aged men. Obviously, it can affect anyone, and that is another demographic that we really need to watch out for. To actually say, are you thinking about killing yourself to someone? That can be very hard. And so it's good to actually practice. We just kind of team people up with each other. It also helps us because it can be triggering for some people. And if someone walks out, we want to make sure that we have someone there that can follow them out, make sure that they're okay. Susan had an experience once where someone called and they said, I went home that night and I talked to my child and they were struggling, this works. Those kind of stories just make it all worth it. Another resource that Spanish Work has that we do is every couple of months we offer a suicide support group for those who have lost someone to suicide. And if anyone who would like to, we will write cards that we put in this box that we give to families who have just lost someone. And then at the end of most of the meetings, we take a picture. Everyone puts their foot in a circle. Well, I just love the representative of that we're just all together. It helps to hear things from someone who's actually been there. Another thing that Susan and I and some people have done is we go, after suicide, we try to go visit with the family and just, listen to them and let them talk. And I remember when Alex died, someone that came to me, they had lost a child, not through suicide, but lost a child. They didn't have to say a word. I immediately just felt like they knew. Alex, he was born in 2001. He was a super chubby baby, just so fun. He could be quiet. Some people might think he's shy, but once you got to know him, he was not quiet and he was funny. And his teachers would always say, well, he talks a lot, right? And they're like, but I move him and then he still talks to those people. So he was really friendly kid, very friendly. I walked with him one day at school and people were just like, hi, Alex, hi, Alex. And he was tall. So he was almost 6 foot at 13. He would come give me a hug and just pick me up. The first time he did that, I was like, what is happening? My little boy is picking me up. Like any teenage boy, he loved video games but he also loved to be outside. We lived right on the bench, and so we had access to just be up in the mountains a lot, and he loved to play out there with his friends. I didn't know a lot about suicide prevention or anything at that time. It wasn't on my radar, but I had heard things about depression, and so I did start to notice, he wasn't wanting to do basketball. He wasn't wanting to do these things that he loved. I think it's just really hard for kids at that age to express their feelings, He would say, I'm okay. A few years before he actually did take his life, he had an attempt, and we learned he was going to before it happened. And so we got him some counseling. We got him on medication. So a lot of things, I feel like, the things that we teach, the things you need to do, like we were trying to do for him. One thing I didn't know much about was anxiety, and I think Looking back, some things that I've learned, he probably had a lot of anxiety. One of those things that's been the hardest for me is thinking about his friends. At that age, to have someone so close to you, your friend, so my heart's been always pretty tender for them. Because I actually lost my son to suicide. I didn't win that battle. Then why would you be the one that could go tell someone else how to do it? It's not like your son made it through this challenge, but people are compassionate and they know that I care and love and just want to help. One of the things that has grown over the past few years is the support. They had the crisis line, but as people became more aware of it and that we've been talking more and more about mental health, calls increased, from 6,000 to up to 8,000 the next year. We know that people are in crisis and mental health, it's been tough. And so it's kind of good to know that people are reaching out and using those resources. Anyone in your life can be struggling. Everyone needs someone to listen to them. Everyone needs someone to notice that something's the matter, even if it's not obvious. One thing I have loved about living in Spanish Fork, and especially working with Susan, I love the attention that they have, the awareness that they bring on mental health. All those resources, all the activities that Spanish Fork has, all these things that promote wellness in the community. It's just heartwarming to know that someone cares. To do those things is actually caring. It's proactive, and it's just lovely. Some people are maybe afraid to approach someone because they don't feel like they have the skills. So first off, if you don't feel like you're the right person to even approach them, from the first step, find someone who can. And then, you have the conversation, you're talking with them. But like we mentioned with CPR, you are not a trained therapist. You don't have all the answers or even the right skills to know what to do next. So it's really important that once you listen, you persuade them. That's your role. Persuade them to get someone that can help them.